Blessings and namaste, everyone. I am spiritualist, psychic, astrologer, and medium Sette. Thank you once again for allowing me this opportunity to share with you my astrological and spiritual insights for the month of February 2020. We are swiftly progressing through another unprecedented year, and as we come into February, we will be happening upon our next Mercury retrograde experience. Mercury will move retrograde on February 16th. It will remain so until March 9th. And I always inspire us to recognize that not until Mercury reaches the point at which it moved retrograde are we completely out of the retrograde experience, and that will be on March 29th. And as I always inspire us to recognize, all astrological phenomena does present opportunities for us to embrace. These experiences are not intended to create disruptions. When we recognize how to really employ these opportunities, we can certainly recognize that there are blessings at hand in every experience, even a Mercury retrograde. Remember, as we always discuss, we embrace the RE words during the Mercury retrograde. We revisit old experiences that we may have moved away from, that we need to rethink. We reconnect with those who we've detached from, lost contact with. We perhaps rewrite anything that we may have been embarking upon regarding a writing experience. And we just reflect, we review, we go within. This Mercury retrograde is in the sign of Pisces. So we always look to whatever sign the Mercury retrograde is taking place, and we inspire you to just kind of touch upon those elements of that specific sign in order to gain a greater understanding as to how to make the most of the Mercury retrograde phase. Pisces, who is ruled by Neptune, can at times, because it's ruled by Neptune, can at times create a tremendous amount of confusion. So this Mercury retrograde phase specifically can be surrounded and filled with even greater confusion than a typical Mercury retrograde phase. It's just another indication that we need to allow ourselves to go within through meditation, allowing ourselves to enjoy peacefulness, quietness as much as possible, because when we go within, that's when we receive the clarity. Also, too, this Mercury retrograde is an opportunity to really reflect on anything that is deep within the self that may need to be resolved. Pisces connects and represents the subconsciousness, the unconsciousness. So many times we have conditions, thoughts, beliefs that sometimes we're not even fully aware of how they influence our decisions, our behaviors, our experiences. This Mercury retrograde is an auspicious opportunity to allow yourself to go within and reflect on those conditions which sometimes operate behind the scenes in the background, that sometimes that loop tape that constantly goes over and over in our minds, that sometimes we're not even really aware of that it's there. And sometimes those voices within ourselves, they perhaps influence from fear some of our decisions, our actions, our experiences. So if any of that needs to be corrected or addressed, this Mercury retrograde is a favorable opportunity to really connect and recognize all that which sometimes operates in the background. It's also an auspicious opportunity to recognize perhaps what might be operating behind the scenes in the outside world that may try to influence our experiences. We are very much experiencing the times of, as I've always said, the apocalypse and revelations. Certainly, it's not. We don't offer those insights to create fear. These experiences are times where much is being revealed that has been operating behind the scenes. So allow yourself the courage, if you will, to really receive guidance, inspiration, love from Spirit during this Mercury retrograde and moving forward. Our next full moon is on February 9th. The exact time of the full moon, when the lunar cycle comes to a crescendo, is on February 9th at 2:33 a.m. and that's Eastern Standard Time. This full moon is in the sign of Leo. Now, you've heard me discuss many times how Leo really represents creativity, divinity, children, imagination. Leo is very much a creative sign. During the summer months in August, we talk about the Lion's Gate portal, where that is an opportunity for us to really receive and infuse our being with the energy of creativity, creative divinity, which certainly every one of us has the opportunity to connect with, so that we may express ourselves, certainly with great passion. Leo also represents passion, great passion. I always inspire us to recognize that whatever it is that we are very passionate about in our lives, that very much connects and represents our greater purpose. The full moon in Leo may give us an opportunity to recognize and connect with that great passion that is within the self. There is also a transformative alignment happening to the full moon from Pluto. This type of an alignment, it's very much connected with Pluto's energy. Pluto's the great transformer. Pluto also is what we refer to as, when Pluto connects with Leo, Pluto in the sign of Leo, Pluto in Leo is where we understand that Pluto is said to be exalted. In astrological terms, that's when a planet moves into a sign where it can connect with its greatest potential. Now, because Pluto is making somewhat of a transformative alignment with the moon, this type of energy does suggest that we need to perhaps make adjustments. It's also an opportunity for us to make significant decisions regarding certain matters. But what I'm more so emphasizing through this experience is really to recognize how we very much are given opportunities to transform ourselves when we engage in creative experiences. And as I've said many times, creativity is not only limited to art and music. Creativity is multifaceted. And what I'm emphasizing with this full moon is to allow yourself to be transformed through creative endeavors. And in that process, you will allow yourself to recognize and become very aware of what brings you great, great passion. That passion brings fulfillment. This full moon certainly can feel a little uncomfortable, sometimes more so than other full moons. However, it's just an indication that perhaps we are giving birth to something greater than we might imagine within ourselves personally, but also collectively as a whole. Another point that I'd like to emphasize is that Leo does represent the entertainment industry. Certainly, I believe now it is what's referred to in the entertainment season as the award season. But what I want to emphasize with this specific alignment is that we may see a bit of a fall from grace happening specifically in the entertainment industry with that conglomeration, as well as many other corporate entities that are in the outside world. That's happening for the most part regarding Pluto and Saturn and their connection, which I've written about in many of my forecasts, how that Pluto-Saturn connection, which is very much present at this full moon, is dissolving those corporate conglomerates, those structures which certainly do not have the highest good of all at the seat of their intentions. Much of these transformations that we are experiencing is the dissolve, the liquidation of those large corporate conglomerates. And at this full moon, we may notice a bit of a fall from grace happening, specifically with the entertainment industry, because those entities do not serve a greater purpose, nor will they have a place in the times to come. The sun, in February, the sun moves into the sign of Pisces, and that will take place this year on February 18th at 11:57 p.m. Eastern Time. Pisces, as I said earlier, it represents that which works behind the scenes, the subconsciousness. Pisces, because it's also ruled by Neptune, represents the psychic faculties, our connection with the spirit realm. Pisces also offers us an opportunity to connect with creativity. Neptune is what is said to be the higher octave of Venus. Venus, we recognize, rules beauty, creativity, the arts, art and music. And when Venus and Neptune connect with one another, we certainly have the opportunity to demonstrate great and profound creativity. Neptune represents the great masters, which really presented themselves during the time of Renaissance. As the sun moves through the sign of Pisces, once again I inspire us to recognize our connection with the spirit realm, our own ability to really work with the psychic faculties, and to also recognize how these connections with these higher levels of consciousness fortify great creativity. Brilliant art comes from the same place that does all the information that we channel psychically from the spirit realm. It all comes from those higher dimensions. So recognizing our connection with the spirit realm, as I inspire all of us to really embrace, will allow us to really fortify profound creative experiences. And that is something as the sun moves through the sign of Pisces during that time, because you see, all things astrologically are cyclical. So whenever we allow ourselves to recognize specifically what sign the sun is transiting during certain times of the year, that's what we really highlight, and that's what we really focus upon. And we have our next new moon, which is a few days after the sun transits into the sign of Pisces on February 23rd. But first, let me emphasize that the balsamic moon phase, which I also inspire us to recognize, begins a preparation phase for our next lunar cycle. It's a time for us to kind of clear away the slate, so when the energies of the new moon really come together, we move forward really free of any energetic debris which may interfere with what it is we are being inspired to embark upon at the time of the new moon. Now, the new moon does take place on February 23rd, and the exact time is 10:31 a.m. The new moon is in the early stages of Pisces, so we can use this new moon opportunity to really set in motion all those qualities that I spoke of earlier. But what is rather extraordinary with this new moon specifically is that the new moon forms a very unique alignment with Mars and Uranus. Mars being in Capricorn, Uranus being in the sign of Taurus. This alignment offers us an opportunity to really pursue endeavors that are very much encoded on or based on spiritual intentions, which can connect with professional endeavors, also to money making endeavors, if you will. Uranus being in the sign of Taurus, Mars being in the sign of Capricorn, which does connect with business ventures, business related matters. If anyone has been endeavoring to pursue any sort of a business entrepreneurial venture that is very much based in spirituality, also that connects with spiritual elements, this new moon is a favorable, auspicious opportunity to begin doing just that. For example, just a couple of days ago, I was sitting with a client who just completed a Reiki training as well as a few other certifications in healing modalities, and was looking to a time to begin her business venture, her metaphysical, if you will, spiritual business venture. And this new moon is one of the times that I suggested that she begin setting the energy in motion to really allow that intention, that goal, that pursuit to unfold. You know, the new moon, it's a time to, as I'm saying, it's a time to set energy in motion, set the intentions in motions. The new moon, it's a time for us to cultivate the ground, plant the seeds, and if and when that is done so properly, by the crescent moon, which is a few days later, that's when we can see the seeds start perking to the surface. Remember, when we plant the seeds, that seed is very much in darkness. It's not necessarily connecting with the light of the sun. It's not emerging just yet. So whenever we plant those seeds, those intentions, we need to allow them to just be within ourselves, to culminate, to germinate, and also to not interfere with that process. You know, many times when we are really when we begin to pursue something, sometimes we too often share too much information with others, whereas in those initial stages of that creative process, we really suggest to just kind of keep things very, very quiet, to not allow anyone else's perhaps negative energy at times to interfere with that germination process. When we are during this time of year with the sun in Pisces, and even with this new moon, it is suggested to really just kind of like go within and clear out the cobwebs, and maybe just kind of keep things very, very quiet right now, and observe how when we move through the spring time frame, when the sun moves into Aries, which is the beginning of the zodiac, that's where we may notice things really coming to fruition for us in many of our pursuits. I also suggest that when the sun is in the sign of Pisces, and maybe even at this Pisces new moon, these are the favorable times to actually do the spring cleaning. Spiritually and metaphysically, I do not suggest spring cleaning actually in the spring. A more favorable energetic opportunity is to engage in spring cleaning during the winter months, specifically when the sun transits the sign of Pisces, because you're going deep within, you're clearing out the cobwebs. Spring, because it is a new season, it's a season that is mostly connected with new beginnings. Whenever we embark upon anything new, we suggest being so with a clean slate. And that's what we do in the winter time. We do the spring cleaning. We clear out the cobwebs. We clean out the closets. Also, I've suggested us to recognize that it was Kahil Gibran, the prophet Kahil Gibran, who inspired us to be aware that our homes are our larger bodies. Whatever is manifesting itself in the home is a reflection of what's going on within the self. Whenever we have much clutter in the home, it is an indication that there is much clutter within the self that needs to be cleaned out, especially in closets. There's a lot of dust in closets. Clear out that dust, and even just recognize how much more clear your thoughts really become. Also, too, I'm being given some information that those of us who really enjoy having altars in our homes, it's always suggested that we clean the altar on a regular basis. Spiritually and metaphysically, when dust collects on an altar, it does indicate a stagnancy in our spiritual growth. And being in the sign of Pisces, the sun in the sign, transiting the sign of Pisces, the new moon in the sign of Pisces, it's a time for us to really reflect on our own spiritual growth, as well as Mercury being in the sign of Pisces. A time for us to reflect on our spiritual growth. Have we been stagnant in our spiritual growth? Is there anything interfering with that growth process? Are there any fears that need to be released? The Mercury retrograde in Pisces is also another wonderful opportunity to release any deeply embedded fears that shall always interfere with our growth and evolution, especially creative growth and spiritual evolution. So, once again, I thank you for allowing me this opportunity to share with you some of these some of these very few insights regarding the many astrological possibilities that will take place during the month of February 2020. So, until we speak again, stay in the light, always in a place of love, and I will see you very, very soon. Namaste.